This is a summary of Review of Religions, November 2013. This starts on page 1. It talks a little bit about the founder of the Review of Religions, the promised Messiah and Imam Mahdi. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, peace and blessings of God be upon him, the promised Messiah and Mahdi, was born to a noble family in a place called Qadian in India. Since he was young, he always had an interest in religion, and he began to admire the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him. He was also known for his honesty, friendliness, and resolve. As time went along, his knowledge and understanding of religion, and using them to benefit people, became more. He was a Muslim, and so he has the belief that all religions were true at their very beginning. But later on, the original religions and their teachings within their religions became different from what they were to start off with. He upheld the dignity of the religion and showed its benefits to everyone. His defense of religion was blessed when he started to receive direct revelation from Allah, God, a blessing that he continued to have for the rest of his life. His mission was to restore the truth that all religions had in them and revive the teachings of Islam. By doing this, he would bring the whole of the human race together and establish everlasting peace. In 1889, under divine guidance, Hazrat Ahmad founded the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, a community that has grown ever since in its stature, strength, and has always kept spreading the message of Islam to the ends of the earth. Hazrat Ahmad had established himself as a respected writer and had written over 80 books, 80. His writings have been translated into more than 60 languages and have done and still do inspire readers even today. One of his greatest scholarly works was the Philosophy of the Teachings of Islam. A scholar is someone who knows a lot about a subject. It was made as a paper and read out at the Conference of Great Religions in 1896. He also wrote a fascinating treatise in 1899. Treatise is like a very, very long essay about a particular subject that looks at it with evidence. It was called Jesus in India. It is a book that uncovered remarkable evidence of Jesus' journey to India. In 1902, the promised Messiah, peace and blessings of God be upon him, started the Review of Religions, and many different topics have been in it: religion, philosophy, and contemporary issues of the day. It is the longest-running English magazine that defends Islam and the benefits that the religion teaches. From 1889 until the time of his death in 1908, tens of thousands of people accepted him. This blessing has continued and will continue through his Khalifas. A Khalifa continues what the Prophet did. Today we are on the 5th Khalifa. Many people worldwide are accepting, and the message of Prophet Ahmad has spread to the ends of the earth. We continue to look at page 75. This is about the status of the promised Messiah's advent. Peace and blessings of God be upon him. Question: the Messiah, son of Mary, peace and blessings of God be upon her, proved through many miracles that he had been sent by God. What miracles do you have? Have you shown any proof? Have you brought any dead person to life or restored the sight of a person who was blind? If you are like the Messiah, peace and blessings of God be upon him, what benefits can you give us? And the answer: looking at and studying the Gospels. In the Messiah's life, peace and blessings of God be upon him, he was the target of the same objection, the same questions. How could he be the Messiah when he did not bring anyone back to life who could tell about the conditions of the life after death, and could have warned his successors about him coming back from hell, and that they should believe? Had the Messiah brought back the ancestors of the Jews to this life, to bear witness to his truth. No one would have dared deny him. Prophets have shown signs, but the people without faith did not see them. He was humble and also came with things. God Almighty has given a great blessing to him. That blessing is that he's been given the purpose of reviving people's morals, so where they were morally dead, they become spiritually alive. Comparing him to the prophet of Nazareth, peace and blessings of God be upon him, he is cleaning the creatures of God, and more so than they were, healed, fixed of physical illness. A person who thinks along material lines cherishes, finds things important that are material things, and sees great value in them. But one who has been given a share of spirituality seeks the spiritual life. The really good people, the righteous servants of God Almighty, do not come into the world to make a show out of people. They are there to bring people to God. They are recognized, seen by this spiritual power, this spiritual light that empowers them and allows them to attract others, may not be seen by those who want to test it, and it may even lead them to stumble. But that spiritual light by itself still draws in people, brings them in, that are worthy of being drawn, and so reveals its miraculous effect. The special friends of God are known by the following signs. Number 1. They are given a pure love of God, which cannot be seen by the people of this world. Number 2. Their hearts are guided by a sort of fear. Their obedience takes the subtlest form, and they are afraid in case their God is displeased. Number 3. They are even more able to hold their ground. When they see this themselves, they are surprised by it. Number 4. When someone else is rude to that person who is rude to them because of what they believe, and continues doing so, they will suddenly get the anger of God. Number 5. When someone becomes their true friend and concentrates themselves, devotes themselves to them in full loyalty and sincerity, God Almighty draws that person to God's self and shows them special mercy. Number 6. Comparing them with others, their prayers are accepted in much larger numbers that cannot be compared. Number 7. Hidden mysteries are often revealed to them, and they are given information of things that are yet to come, even though other believers may also experience true dreams and visions. The chosen ones will have more of them. Number 8. God Almighty becomes their guardian and treats them even more mercifully than a parent would be with their children. Number 9. When they are given a great problem, they are treated in one of two ways. They are saved from it in a very extraordinary way, or are given such steadfastness, being able to hold their ground, so much so that it is full of pleasure, delight, and happiness to do more. Number 11. Their trust in God is very high, and the benefits continue to be shown all the time. Number 12. They are given the power and the ability to do righteous acts, which others are unable to do. Number 13. They have a high amount of sympathy for God's creatures, and do not expect any reward or anything for it. They are inspired by a high amount of want to serve the human race. They themselves cannot understand why they are so inspired. This characteristic is part of their nature. Number 14. They are completely and perfectly devoted, focused on God Almighty, and have the desire to sacrifice their whole beings in God's cause. They are so close to God that the common person cannot see it or understand it. They will receive many blessings. While they appear to be sinking, they win. They appear to be alone and abandoned. They are suddenly seen at the head of large groups. Number 15. Their knowledge of the Holy Quran. They are given deep understanding of the wisdom and fine points of the Holy Quran, more than others. Number 16. God Almighty inspires their words and writings with an effectiveness that shows them apart from the writings and speeches of the regular people. Their words have a grandeur and impact, and as long as the people are not deliberately turning their backs, it captures their hearts. Number 17. They inspire a type of amazement which is a reflection of the amazement inspired by God. Number 18. God Almighty does not allow them to be destroyed, and they are not humiliated or disgraced. God Almighty does not allow them to fall from a height to be destroyed, but God does show them miraculous deliverance. Number 19. God Almighty does not allow them to die until their task has been completed. Number 20. They leave behind a good remembrance, and God Almighty gives special mercy to their children for many generations, as well as the children of their faithful friends, and keeps their names alive. These are the characteristics of the friends of the Gracious One. Each of these, when manifested at its due time, appears like a great miracle, but its manifestation is entirely in the hand of God Almighty. Now in obedience to the direction, and I quote, "and proclaim the bounty of thy Lord," end of quote. I do not see any harm in declaring that the merciful God has, through his grace and bounty, bestowed all these characteristics on me in abundance. He has not sent me empty-handed, nor has he appointed me without any accompanying signs. He has bestowed all these signs upon me, which are being manifested and will continue to be manifested. God Almighty will go on manifesting these signs until the truth is clearly established. And this is the answer to, what benefits do you give us? He says that when a person who has been chosen by God to lead all people to God, the appearance of this person is only a very good thing, and it is a good thing for all people. It can be described as the rising of the sun in the morning in the sky, but a spiritual sun. The light spreads far and wide. The sun shines its light differently on animals, plants, minerals, and other objects, but few people know enough about it. When God has chosen somebody to lead all people to God, that special person impacts on every part and region of the universe. From the moment his merciful appearance is chosen, angels begin to collect, like the rays of the sun, to the far corners of the world to strengthen those people, make them stronger. People who are very righteous are more accepting of the truth. All these signs are of the truth of the person who has been chosen by God. God has given this as a sign of true revelation, that when the person arrives, so do angels. Day by day, the world begins to turn towards the truth. So remembering the 20 signs I talked of before, this is a general sign of someone who is chosen by God Almighty to lead all people to God. And this finishes on page 79. This is a summary of the Review of Religions, November 2013.